if you've been a teacher of Latin or Greek for more than a few months, you've undoubtedly encountered the question, why are we studying Latin or Greek, coming from a student? And it's a difficult question to respond to, especially if your interrogator is of, 10, 11, 12, 13 years of age. It's difficult because there are only really two options. If you've been asked this question or if you're in this position, you have two options. You can either respond or not respond. If you decide to respond, you already know in the back of your mind nothing you say is going to be able to convince this kid who has asked you this question. Because typically when students are asking why they have to be doing something in a classroom, they're asking out of a sense of the origin of the question is indignance or something. So they feel like like they're being treated unfairly and having to come in every day and do these boring exercises every day, and they're just irritated. They're looking more for a place to vent and maybe kind of maybe potentially put the teacher down or look for an opportunity to kind of humiliate the teacher, the person who has put them in this position. And it also makes the student look good. If they're the advocate for their the peers, their peers, advocating for not having to do this thing that they don't want to do. So you can respond and you can lay out all of the reasons that are legitimate reasons and they're good reasons, but they're never going to convince an 11-year-old or 12-year-old, that they should be doing this thing. The other potential response is to not respond at all, tell the kid to be quiet and get back to his conjugations, and that obviously is not a good response because it really reflects poorly on a teacher if they're unwilling to answer seemingly simple questions. So you're really between a rock and a hard place, or between a carobdis and a skula, as the ancients would say. No choice offers a good outcome. So what do we do? My advice to teachers of classical languages is this. We should be creating an environment where this kind of question is never being asked. So if students are enjoying being in the classroom that you've created, then you're never going to get questions that are originating from indignance or that are coming from a place of feeling treated unfairly or out of anger, at least not typically. You may be asked in this kind of environment out of a genuine curiosity, why are we studying this thing? I want to know. And that's fine. And I think in that kind of situation, you could lay out reasons and you might be able to have some sort of persuasive power there. But what we really want is to create a place where kids actually want to come to. They don't feel like they're being mistreated if they're coming into your classroom. They don't feel upset or angry coming in and having to sit down and do boring rote exercises. Because honestly, if we were in their position and we already didn't feel like we wanted to learn Latin and we were forced to come in every single day and sit down and do the exercises and don't speak to the people around you and don't chew any gum and don't drink any Coca-Cola in the classroom. Over time, that would wear on an adult as well. And we need to be working to inspire kids, and we don't want to give the false impression of what Latin is. So Latin's not just like conjugations and declining. So if you've been asked this question, you are likely, and I've been in this position myself, you are likely not doing a very good job teaching. You've created a boring environment. And if your environment is boring, you're honestly not going to learn much. So you're doing two injustices. You're making the kids angry, and you're also not teaching them very well. So the question becomes, how do we create an environment that is conducive to making Latin more enjoyable? And that is a tough question that would require more time and energy, but that's kind of time and energy that we've been putting into our website, thelatinteacher.com. You can go there. We post new articles every Saturday. We have a cool Latin composition competition that you should join. That comes out every Wednesday. So if you've been dealing with this question, it might be time to consider mixing up the way you teach your class. So, we'll see you at the Malarium. Goodbye.